I'm Claudia. I'm a self-proclaimed bookworm. My boyfriend, not so much. So I started summarizing entire books for him. Dramatic plot twists, romantic betrayals, magical quests, all of it. Basically, he gets the story without reading a single page. And now I'm doing the same for you. Welcome to The Whole Story, the channel where I read the book and then tell you the whole story, literally. Fantasy, romance, literary fiction. If it has yearning, magic, or emotional damage, I've got you covered. I'll tell you the whole story in 30 minutes or less, spoilers included. Yes, I will tell you who dies, who cries, and who should have just gone to therapy. So, if you like books, but you don't have the time to read all of them, or you just want to know what happens without the emotional labor, hit subscribe and let's write some endings together. Yeah, because life's too short to read 700 pages of slow burn, unless you're into it. I kinda am. Hello! Today I'm going to tell you about the book called Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. It is a romance, so very light, I would say, kind of easy read. And this book follows the story of Samantha and Xavier. It is set in the United States, in Minnesota, if I'm not wrong. And it starts off with Xavier, who is a veterinarian and has his own clinic. And he's a bit of a moody guy, you know, a bit grumpy kind of thing. And this woman comes in, and it's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his life. And she's really nice, and she's carrying a kitten, like, inside her blouse. And he's, like, taken aback right away by how beautiful and how pretty she is. And she's very nice, and she starts talking to him, but very quickly he realizes that he can't help her because this kitten that this woman just rescued has a problem. And after checking him out, the veterinarian, Xavier, finds out that it has a problem with its... Can I say that? Yeah. Has a problem with the... So when it poops, something happens. Anyways, it's bad. There is no fixing it. Samantha, that's the name of the lady. She's like, can you please fix it? Like, it's my cat. I love it and I want to take care of it. And he's like, no. You can't. It's just gonna, like, the surgery costs a lot of money, like thousands of dollars. It's just gonna bring pain to the cat, and I wouldn't recommend it. And she's like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. It's my cat, I wanna save it. What if I would find the money? He's like, well, I still wouldn't advise saving it because it's a waste of time. He doesn't say it like that, but it's a waste of time. It's probably not gonna work. It's probably not gonna survive. So let's not put it through pain. And then you can see as well that Xavier has some issues, you know, like some traumas with putting animals through unnecessary pain just because the owners want them to live. So that's a whole other thing. So she leaves kind of angry, and then she moves on and she doesn't give up. She's a fighter, and she decides that she's gonna save her kitten. So she starts a GoFundMe. And then she gets like a funny name and everything, and then you find out that she's a social media marketing expert kind of thing. So, you know, she starts a whole marketing campaign to save her kitties, and it has a funny name. I'll find it at some point. And she actually gets enough money to save the kitten and to have the surgery that it needs. And Xavier actually finds out about this, and he donates $500 to the GoFundMe, and she sees that and she's like, okay, so Mr. Grumpy Guy actually is apologizing, you know, letting me know that he knows he's wrong. So she actually calls him and they talk. I think she calls him or he calls her. They talk and he apologizes, and then she comes over and she says, well, thank you for admitting that you're wrong. We did have the surgery, and we will save the kitten. And then he's like, well, yeah, I want to take you out on a date. Long story short, they go out on a date, and she's like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, he's super hot. She compares him to Reeson from Cordova Akatar a couple of times, so you know that he's very, very hot. And they go out on a date, and it's like the best date they've ever had. It's amazing. They go on a boat, they eat, there's rescue dogs, and he's the kindest guy ever. She drops her phone in the water in a very, very silly manner. He takes off his shirt and dives into the water to get her phone, and they put it in rice and they save her phone. So it's this whole romantic thing. After that, he's like, I love this woman. Like, I want to continue talking to her. And she's like, yeah, I could continue talking to this guy as well. It's going really well. They have so much in common and they're really vibing. So he asks if she wants to go play mini golf. He asks his friends, what should we do? What's open at this time? And they say mini golf. So he invites her, they go. Turns out all of his friends are at the mini golf. That's what they said, mini golf, because they wanted to meet the girl. So it's funny, she meets his friends, they all have a lot of fun, and she really blends in with the group. And then it's like midnight, and guess what? They still don't want to go home because they're having the best time of their lives. So they decide to do an escape room. So they go to an escape room because it's the only thing that is still open in the city at midnight, but it's closing at 1 o'clock. And they go in and they talk to the guy and say like, can we still go in? And he's like, yeah, sure. Doesn't care. They go into the escape room and it's a spaceship. They do it fairly quick. They finish it within an hour, so it's great. There's a Come On Eileen song playing, you know, to celebrate the fact that they finished, and the door doesn't open. They're waiting, they're banging, they're calling. They had to leave their phones outside so they wouldn't cheat. So they are basically trapped inside the escape room and they cannot leave. They don't know what time it is because they don't have a phone, they don't have a watch. Who doesn't have a watch? But they're basically stuck there for like 6 hours. Then you find out that Samantha, that's her name, she's actually leaving tomorrow because she's moving to LA. Moving, never to come back. And they're both realizing that this is the best date of their lives and they really like each other and there's potential here and maybe they could be together forever and might be the person I want to be with, and she's leaving. So it's very dramatic. They try to sleep, they try to talk, they want to kiss, but then they don't want to kiss because the camera is recording, so they don't want to do that. And then in the end, someone opens the door. She barely makes it to her flight and they say goodbye. He doesn't find out that she's leaving until he drops her off at her house. She takes a shower and changes because she's taking a flight. And he sees that her apartment is completely empty and that she's packing her sheets and the air mattress that she was sleeping in. So that's the moment where he's like, are you going somewhere? Like, he knew that she was going to LA. And she's like, yeah, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm leaving the apartment. That's why it's empty. And then, yeah, it dawns on him, like, what the hell? And that's what she says, like, it was nice, it was a beautiful date, best of my life, but I'm leaving, so you need to forget me. And that's the whole thing. Say you'll remember me? And she's like, no, you need to forget me. So she goes to LA. Basically, the reason why she needs to go to LA is because her mother has early onset dementia and she needs to be taken care of. She's slowly deteriorating, so they're all in LA taking care of the mother. So they live together with her grandma, who is retired and just at home taking care of them. The father is also there, but he still has a job. And then there's 3 siblings in total, and they all decided to move back to LA so they could take care of the mother and help the dad and the grandma to take care of the mother. So that's the whole story. That's why she needs to move. And it's okay with her job because she's a social media manager for a mustard company, Merkel's. So she can do her job from anywhere. So she moves to LA. She thinks, I'm gonna forget about this Xavier guy, no problem. She doesn't. She thinks about him all the time, the best date ever. They talk for a little bit. But she doesn't want to, because he calls her at some point because he also can't stop thinking about her. So they call each other, they try, no, it's not working. And then he's like, no, I can't stop thinking about this woman. I'm gonna go to LA. So he he calls her and he says, I want to come visit you. And she's like, no, that's a bad idea. He's like, yeah, we just need to get this out of our systems. They always say that. So he flies to LA and guess what? They have the best weekend ever. You know, they're super in love and they start to realize it wasn't just a one-time thing. They really connect and they have all these like deep conversations about how they want someone to witness your life and to just be a part of it. And they want to have parallel lives where they are together all the time. So that's why this relationship wouldn't work. And they understand that even though they like each other, it's just going to end up badly because he doesn't have the money to keep flying back and forth from Minnesota to LA. And she doesn't have it either because she's trying to help her mother. So neither of them has the financial capacity to have a long distance relationship. And since there's no end date for the long distance relationship, neither of them wants to do it. Guess what? They still do it because love is the most powerful thing of all. So they start a long distance relationship. There is a lot of obstacles, like a lot of obstacles. The mother has a couple of episodes. Samantha's brother is a bit of an at some point. Xavier starts to realize that his life is miserable. He also has a lot of traumas with his parents and everything. So he has this whole thing of like found family, that he really feels at home when he's with Samantha, and he likes her family. So he keeps trying to go back and forth. There is at one point a situation where she flies to Minnesota to surprise him, and then he flies to LA to surprise her, of course. So they call each other, and they're in each other's house on the other side. And then, yeah, he comes back, and he was sick and everything. So he comes back and he's super sick. He has a double pneumonia. He goes to the hospital. So that's a waste of time. But basically we spent like 10 months in this whole thing of back and forth, back and forth. And he knows that his life is with her. He's like, at some point within like 3 months of knowing each other, he's like, this is going to be my wife. Like, this is the woman I'm going to marry. Because he just knows, and they're super in love. So basically the rest of the book is just him trying to deal with his own demons and making peace with his old trauma with his parents, because one of the reasons why he's not leaving Minnesota is because he thinks that if he sells the clinic or files for bankruptcy, his family, his parents will know that he failed, and he doesn't want to show them that he failed. He wants to show that he's a success and everything, just to like kind of flip them off. And then at some point someone talks to him and they figure it out. And he realizes that, yes, like, why am I letting my parents ruin my future? Even though I don't care about them, they're still having a negative impact on my life. And he does have someone that can help him with the clinic, so he can figure it out. So he just packs up his and drives to California, and he just shows up at Samantha's home a year after they met for their anniversary, and he just shows up at her door. So it's very romantic, big gesture kind of thing. It is really nice. Like, they go through so much emotional stuff. Her grandma dies at some point, and she goes through a bit of depression in the middle, and he wants to be there for her, but he can't. It's really difficult, but in the end, they do figure it out. He finally accepts that he's going to have to sell this clinic. But then in the end, the guy that was helping him out, this retiree guy that was really, really sweet and kind of behaved like his father at some point, he takes care of the clinic, and then they find other retirees to come and help on their free time. So it's actually really sweet, and they keep the clinic going for a little bit longer. He opens a second clinic in LA. Also at some point, Samantha had lost her job because they did a merger with another company, and she lost her job, but now she's just taking care of her mom and doing some freelance work. So happily ever after, sort of. There's still a lot of things going on. There's still a lot of sadness. I did cry a time or two, but it is just a story about love conquering all, quote unquote, and what it means to be in a relationship, what it means to love someone, and to have that whole like someone witnessing your life. And then we jump to the epilogue where they are married and happy, and the end, and happily ever after. And that's it. Thank you for joining. See you next time.